I know you said that the group that you're trying to reach is 18 to 44-year-olds, but what is the Republican Party doing to reach other minorities? Because I know that was another big group that seems to be getting lost.
Well, keep in mind that I said, it's not me reaching out, this was really information on you. The largest majority of voters now is 18 to 44. So that's just a factual piece of information. The Republican Party has to continue to reach out to minorities. You know, pretty interesting, and don't hold me to these numbers, so I don't have them exact, but I think George Bush got 38% of the Hispanic vote.
44.
Was it 44? And then McCain got something like 24 to 28, 26, some number like that. And they said that's the lowest it'll ever go. And then Romney got, I think, 18%. So it just shows you. But the problem was, the president was pretty good about these things. Look what the president did. When he wanted to get pull some of the single issue voters off, he came out with a statement. And that's the message he got. And he has the ability to get that message. So I told you about when he says he supports gay marriage, he pulled some of the gay conservatives into his fold. When he wanted to get the Hispanics, he came out and talked about immigration and what he wanted to do. These are the things he did, but what we have to do is we have to educate people to say, look at what the president has said for the last 4 years and 6 years, and how much did he really do? See, it's easy to say things. He won over a lot of voters by saying, this is what I believe in, or this is what I want to do. But then he never does anything. He doesn't get it accomplished. You know, he came out, as my sister said, and you know, I have some very unique conversations with her. She said that what the Republicans have to realize is that's called political therapy, and we don't do enough political therapy. But quite frankly, that's what the president even is doing with gun control. He knows that none of this is going to, it's not even going to get out of the Senate. You know, so my answer on gun control is, my specific answer is, I'm going to wait to see what comes out of the Senate, because that's what we'll end up voting on. But quite frankly, I don't think anything's going to come out of the Senate, and he knows that. When it comes to immigration, he's going to come out with a policy next week. I mean, we do need to take a look at illegal immigration, and we do need to look at our immigration policies and processes now. But I was sitting on a plane just coming back last week with somebody who is a legal immigrant, and she told me of some of the barriers she had to trying to get to be legal. And she has a sister who's trying to become legal, where it's almost impossible to become legal. So I think we have to look at it from that standpoint. Because one of the reasons people become illegal is because they can't get through the legal process. So we need to look at that too.
Yeah, what are we doing in Ohio about our energy independence to make sure that what happened in New York with the storm Sandy doesn't happen here?
The storm and the energy.
In other words, they're still suffering in New York from that storm that hit 2 months ago with power outages and lack of a plan to ensure that if and when a storm hits Ohio, that we're knocked out of commission for months and months. Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. What are we doing? What are we doing here in Ohio to make sure that doesn't happen?
Well, again, I think that's probably a question for the governor and the state more than me. But you know, when it comes to energy independence, I think the answer is we have to look at all of the above. We've got to start looking at the gas and oil reserves that we have underneath the ground. If we do move forward with them, we got to make sure that we do it so that it's good for the economy, but also it doesn't hurt the ecological issues too. So those are all things we have to continue to move forward with. But we could be energy independent. You know, another interesting vote for the president coming up now will be the pipeline. We'll see where he moves on that. You can talk about wanting to be energy independent, but if you don't step up and do the right things.
Congressman, would you take that with you to the anti-gun people, that cars kill more people in this country every day than the student.
One of the things that's kind of interesting, and I would tell you all this because I get a lot of these emails. Everybody say, "What do you think about this?" I always say, "Let's wait to see what comes up," because just because the president says he's going to push through a gun, I don't think it's ever going to get anywhere. And I think that's really the key. We need to make sure that we see where we're at. And by the way, I don't see too many people in Congress that are anti-gun.
What's up with Feinstein? She's gotta be a nutcase like Pelosi.
Look, I told you all, there's 435 members, everybody comes with a different perspective, everybody comes with a different voting base. I might have told you the one story, my first best lesson in Congress was after 2 weeks there when a gentleman came up to me and said, I said to him, "Look, you've been here 20 years, maybe I can learn from you. Maybe you can give me some ideas." This guy's from up in the Northeast, I'll say, and he said to me, "You morons, get out of the way to get things done." Now, might sound like an insult, but what I finally realized is that there are people in other parts of this country, which is what makes this country so great, who believe 100% opposite of what you believe. And that's why we have, the situation we have. And what we gotta do is get the majority.
Congressman?
A lot of our problems stems back to education in the public schools, as far as I'm concerned. These kids are not being taught our government or the Constitution. And I've gotten involved with my children and grandchildren over the years. They seem to think the government is the horn of plenty. And you've got to stop and think that the guys running the government always got their hands in our pocket. So consequently, the government is the horn of plenty because it's not explained in the public schools.
Well, one thing I will tell you that's kind of interesting for me, probably another one of my good learning lessons over the last 2 years, I've had a lot of conservatives, staunch conservatives come up to me and say, we gotta cut spending, but you gotta continue to get me the dollars I need in my program. So kind of keep that in mind. Regula used to always say to me, it's pretty easy for somebody to say, cut, 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 don't cut me, cut the guy behind the tree. And if you think about it, I have learned that more than anything. The staunchest conservatives, the guys who say, I am a Tea Party staunch conservative, and then they turn around and say, how come you didn't vote for this? And I sit there and say, because there was a lot of waste in there and a lot of garbage in it. Yeah, but it hurts this program that I'm involved with. We all have to realize that no matter what, it's going to hurt for us to fix things.
Amen.
And the government doesn't have the money anymore. And Medicare and Medicaid and Social Security, here's a great example. Medicare, I know I've told you this before. The average couple pays in between $100,000 and $130,000 a year, and the average couple takes out almost $334,000 in their lifetime. In their lifetime. If you put in $1, you take out $3. That doesn't work. But when you talk to the person who's 65 or 66 or 70 years old, they say to me, don't touch my Medicare. And the answer is, if we don't fix the system, it may be around. I was with a guy the other day in church, believe it or not, because I can't even get away from this in church. And the guy said to me, I don't care. Don't touch Medicare because I'll be gone in 8 years and let them worry about it then. That's the problem. Because we want Medicare around for a long time. It's a good program, but it has to work. And the only way it has to work is it has to be changed around so that it's solvent and good long-term, just like Social Security. Social Security was meant for people that needed a supplement, and it was set up based on people dying at age 65. And now people are living to 85. So if we don't fix Social Security, it might be around for the next 10 years. I think it's got 17-year lifespan, 16 years, something like that. But then it's gone. So what are we gonna do? But that's the one that always gets me, because they'll say, well, I paid into it. Don't touch it right now. Let it worry about it later. At some point in time, we gotta change it.
Yeah, hold on. My question kind of falls along those lines. All these, the Medicare, Medicaid, the healthcare, why aren't the Republicans pushing the concept that this belongs under the purview of the states? And that the reason that there is Medicare, Social Security, and all this, because the federal government can print money, those programs just inevitably fall into bankruptcy. But if you just push the issue there, well, healthcare, we're not gonna argue about healthcare, we're not gonna argue about abortion. Those belong under the purview of the states. And when abortion, ruling came out, it was legal in some states and illegal in others. But now, when you guys go along with that, it seems like you go in with that one size fits all, and you give up on the concept of federalism. Is there any hope of ever going back to these programs that belong to the states?
Well, again, when you say you guys or these guys,
I mean the politics.
that was put together 43 years ago.
Right.
The answer really is that we need to take a look and push the things that belong in the state level back to the state level. There are certain things that belong in the federal government, we need to keep those there, absolutely. But it's hard to slice and dice at this point and do that, but we believe in, many of us believe in that. We need to push certain programs. You know, there's some talk about pushing the Medicaid program back to the states. Those are all things that we're working towards.
Homer, we got time for one last question.
Just a comment before anything else. Congressman, thank you for coming. And we all get frustrated with this. And we also need to remember the wheels of justice grind slowly, but they grind exceedingly fine. So my word is, keep on grinding.
We can definitely appreciate the frustration. Can you imagine what it's like being on the front lines saying, this Benghazi thing, and Hillary Clinton's got the cheek to say, what does it matter? If she wasn't going, I say she should be fired. Can we fire the person coming in to replace her? Well, not yet, maybe. What do you do about Obama violating the law? Are you gonna call the Attorney General and have him arrested? Quite frankly, folks, elections have consequences, not a lot that can be done. Except, make sure the next election doesn't turn out that same way. Which gets back to the point, we need to get more people on board. We haven't reached out and touched enough people, and that's all of our takeaway. We need to reach out and touch new people. It's good for us to come here and enjoy the company of like-minded people, but we need to get outside the envelope and get some people that haven't been educated. There's a lot of low information voters out there. Just about half of the voters, in fact. We need to get out and show. So anyway, need to pull up to a close. I'd like to say thanks to Scott Asher back here, our venerable videographer and perpetual volunteer. And he's holding up the donate button. Thanks, Scott. Appreciate that. Yeah, we've always got ink, paper, postage, etc., websites to pay for. And we did have a question here, what's happening about the 18 to 40? Well, as a matter of fact, there is a meeting scheduled for February 7th to try and organize a 18 to 40 group in Medina County. So if you know anybody that fits in that category, let us or Larry Cray know, and we'll try to get you into that meeting. We'll get the young person into that meeting, because we think it's well overdue. Lisa, any other announcements we need to cover before we get out?
I'd like to give a heads up to the Oaks in Brunswick. I was at a prayer vigil last week, and they are a family and pregnancy services. They try to prevent abortions. They do a wonderful Christian outreach, and if anyone's interested, please pick one of these up on the way out. I know there's a lady that's opened up a new gun shop in Brunswick. She's got a grand opening. So, nothing better than a woman packing. But, so anyway, I want to encourage you guys to stop by her shop and say hi. I know I haven't met her yet, but I understand she's from Litchfield. And also, we are looking for some volunteers. We've got some different things coming up.
Gun
Call
shows.
us. Yeah, what's that?
Gun shows.
Oh, yes, the gun shows, definitely. And also I have some work where we have to look up phone numbers and things like that. If anyone has some time and would like to work with me, call me. Call me at the MCFAN number or our home number would be fine. And one other announcement, Rob Langer gives classes in Solon. I go out at least once a week. If anyone is interested in self-defense and doesn't have any serious health problems, contact me. It's a lot of fun, and Scott and I, you can talk to Scott or I about that. Something we really enjoy and would like to promote.
Right, and if anybody wants to do something about energy and looking for a group that is focused on that, contact that gentleman sitting on the stool right in the back of the room.
Right.
There he is.
We also have free t-shirts. Everything on this table over here is free. We've got large, extra large energy t-shirts, and I have a couple extra large MCFAN t-shirts and triple X's. I got 2 triple X's. So if anyone fits any of these shirts, they're free, and come get them.
Okay, and if there's no further ado, we will adjourn this meeting. Thank you for coming.
Where's Paul? Where's Paul Bois? That's good.
Did you enjoy the meeting?
That's my first time here.